appears to be a previously unknown variant of the 40 suspected case, catching many experts off guard.
Today I was feeling like maybe
After nearly 50 hours in a pandemically destroyed New York City, I have emerged with only a few battle scars and a lot of war stories to tell. The Division is an RPG MMO hybrid, wrapped up in the look and feel of a third-person cover-based shooter. With an incredibly engrossing world and solid gameplay, only inconsistent AI and a lackluster story keep The Division from being one of the best games of the year. The city has been quarantined and fallen into chaos, leaving you and your fellow agents with the job of putting the pieces back together. In reality, your interactions with other human players is surprisingly scarce. Don't expect to see other agents roaming the streets. This hinders the Division's story as it undermines the idea that a massive effort is taking place to reclaim New York City. It also doesn't help that the Division offers some less than memorable characters that you may find difficult to invest in. Thankfully, the second half of The Division improves upon the narrative with the introduction of a more interesting antagonist, but it's too little too late. Even the various enemy factions are fairly by the books, with the exception of the flamethrower-toting cleaners. Most of the real story comes from exploring the city itself. Speaking of the world, The Division's recreation of New York City is both strikingly beautiful and haunting at the same time. The level of detail and authenticity put into recreating Midtown rivals that of any game. For those wanting to explore, Midtown offers a host of buildings, back alleys and famous landmarks to discover and loot. The main missions are more varied than one might expect, with slight twists to the formula The Division so readily sticks to. One mission sees you having to advance on an enemy faction's position while automated turrets fire at you, with another having you destroy napalm tanks as you progress. Unfortunately, this doesn't progress to the side missions, which can quickly grow dull and repetitive. Sadly, the enemy AI isn't anything special either. Some will suppress you with sniper rifles, while others just run at you in a straight line, making them easy pickings. This sadly makes engagements fairly predictable, especially when coupled to the less than interesting bosses who are just more powerful versions of other enemy types. Speaking of combat, The Division offers some of the best cover-based shooting you will find in the market today. Hiding behind walls and other structures is easy and fluid, letting you transfer from cover to cover by just holding down a single button. Gunplay is solid, with each weapon type feeling distinct. While you are restricted to only being able to carry 3 weapons, switching firearms mid-combat is fast and easy. Subverting the usual RPG layout of applying skill points to a certain talent branch, The Division doesn't force you to commit to a certain style of play. Each of the 3 skill trees feel wholly unique from one another, which allows for some interesting customization options. Medical allows for the deployment of healing, while tech is focused on using powerful gadgets to turn the tide of a battle. Security is more focused on defensive capabilities. The skills can be modded with one of 3 choices, adding another layer of depth and strategy to one's choices. Backing this are talents and perks, which all culminates in allowing the player extreme freedom with how they want to tackle engagements, as these abilities can be swapped out on the fly with no penalty to the player. The best aspect of The Division is the Dark Zone, which stands head and shoulders above the rest of the game. This mode sees agents trying to secure contaminated loot from high-leveled enemies and chests. The catch is, any other player in this zone can shoot and kill you, taking any of the loot you have picked up for their own use. Doing this makes the player turn rogue, which puts a bounty on their head. Going rogue is a double-edged sword, as it can usually guarantee easy loot, but you are then at risk of being hunted like a dog until the timer expires. This lends itself to some incredibly tense and thrilling standoffs, as you will find yourself making uneasy alliances with other players. This forces a completely different style of play, as you always need to be on your toes, checking your surroundings constantly. Combat here is fast, merciless, and downright dirty, as marauding groups of 4 prey upon those who decide to enter solo. The Division is a game that delivers a fun and enjoyable experience that keeps me wanting to come back to NYC. The Dark Zone offers some of the best multiplayer experiences I have had in recent memory, and the ability to constantly change your skills around offers extensive replayability. While the AI could use some work along with the story, this didn't detract extensively from my experiences. It may not have lived up to the overwhelming hype, but The Division doesn't make me want to escape New York anytime soon. I give The Division 4 stars out of 5. For the full written review, head to thenerdstash.com.